Hey, what's going on? It's Inventor here, with my Companion Druid in Diablo 4 Season 9. I cleared Pit 55 to unlock Torment 4, so I wanted to share my build with you in case anyone was struggling to reach the endgame with the Companion Druid. In this build guide, I'm going to cover my character, abilities, progression, and other relevant information. So first, I'll talk about my gear. Gear. Note that on the PTR, the masterworking is bugged. You'll see that even though these items are all rank 4 masterworking, there are 3 affixes being buffed. In terms of tempers, I prioritize chance for wolves to deal double damage on my weapon, damage or damage to distant enemies for offensive, total armor for defensive, petrify cooldown reduction for resource, petrify size for utility, and movement speed for mobility, although I don't have any items that use mobility tempers here. When it comes to each individual item slot, on my weapon I have a Shepherd's Aspect on a GA Max Life pole arm. Shepherd's is pretty instrumental to getting the most amount of damage on this build because it gives you more damage based on every companion that you have, and that goes in line with all of the wolves, the poison creeper, the key passive, and I even have the Cur rune here to spawn me even more Spirit Wolf companions. So ideally it would have been nice to get a GA willpower polearm like this one right here that has max life and crit strike damage as well, but I didn't quite get one before I cleared Pit 55, so this was the best I had at the time. On my helm, I'm running Spirit Bond Aspect with plus ranks of Wolves. My chest armor is Juggernaut's Aspect with the GA Willpower, a pretty nice roll on the GA. I have on my gloves a Stampede Aspect with GA Willpower and Crit Strike Chance. Keep in mind that for these items that I went over, I am trying to cap out on both my resistance to all elements, right, or get as close to it as I can, or as close to the cap as I can, and my total armor. Well, I would ideally like for this to get as close to 1,000 on Torment 4 as possible. Here right now it's only 805, but later when I pop my incense, you'll see that value go all the way up to 1,000, or around 1,000. So yeah, similarly with the gloves, I have the Crit Strike Chance. Crit Strike Chance is super important, not just because it gives more damage, but because you need to hit critical strikes for the pack leader Spirit Boon here. That is one of the fundamental components of the build. My pants, yes, these are super important. The unique Storm's Companion, of course. This one is non-ancestral, but frankly, that doesn't matter nearly as much as just having my wolves be AoE and lightning. My boots are Rakanoth's Wake, mainly for all resistances, but it does give damage and cooldown reduction too, which is quite nice. My amulet, now this is a really nice amulet. It's got Alpha Aspect with Willpower, Crit Chance, and ranks of Call of the Wild. This is a huge increase in damage, and I got really lucky here. Of course, it could have been better. This is a non-ancestral amulet. So if I got an ancestral one with GA on Willpower or Call of the Wild, that would have been even better. And here I have Crit Strike Chance, but I would have preferred to get Envenom instead. But of course, an amulet with Willpower, Call of the Wild, and Envenom is exceedingly rare. My ring, I'm running Moonrage Aspect with GA Lightning Resistance. To be honest, this was just the only ancestral ring I could get that correctly rolled into crit chance at the Occultist. And then for my second ring, I'm of course using Irida's to pull monsters in, making it much easier to hit everything with wolves. For my sockets, on my jewelry, I have diamonds to cap out all resistances. My weapon has emeralds for crit strike damage, and my pants have sapphires for dexterity. When it comes to runes, I'm running Knockgar on my helm to gain crit chance whenever I apply CC. So in this case, Poison Creeper's Immobilize and Petrify's Stun. My chest armor has Kurka, giving me 3 extra wolf companions when I cast 5 skills. I cast skills very often via Claw and Poison Creeper and Wolves and pretty much everything else. So I have at least 3 extra wolves up, sometimes even 6, pretty regularly. Keep in mind that these are the best runes that I had access to. Of course, if I had Nagu rune to gain offering from summons, or Zan rune for crit overpower, for example, then I would have ended up using those instead. And lastly, I have Elixirs and Incense. I prioritize, of course, having life, stats, armor, and all resistances. Now you see with all of the Elixirs and Incense I just popped, my armor stat, which was previously 850, went above 1,000, so I've reached the cap. And then my resistances aren't quite all at the cap, but they are pretty close. 70, like the cap went up this season from 70 to 75, so I'm only a couple percent short of reaching 75 on Fire and Cold, as well as Lightning, Poison, and Shadow. Horadric powers. For my Catalyst, I'm running Cosmic Anomaly. For my Infusion, I'm running Thunderous Particle. And for my Arcanas, I'm running Bloody Charm, Sapping Crux, and Fractured Core. My Catalyst has a passive and an active. Passively, there's these anomalies that follow me around and attack monsters from time to time, as you can see here. These little mini stars are part of my Cosmic Anomaly. And yeah, they hit monsters from time to time. From the active, all the anomalies detonate themselves on a target. Both the passive and active apply the Arcana effects, which I'll talk about in a second. My Infusion increases my lightning damage bonus to the highest damage type bonus among other effects. So if I understand this correctly, right now I have 1300% companion damage, and since wolves themselves do lightning damage with Storm's companion pants, I get 1300% lightning damage too, or at least that's my understanding of how this infusion works. My Arcanas give my Catalyst bonus effects. So in this case, I receive an Execute under 20% life. I apply Vulnerable to increase my damage by at least 20%. And, my favorite one, I can break damage resistance aura effects for a few seconds, making it far easier to deal with DR monsters in the pit. Skills. Now, I'm not going to cover every node that I took on my skill tree, but the most important one would be the key passive known as One with Nature. One with Nature gives my companion skills each one additional companion and makes them deal 80% increased damage. It's a massive damage boost. And I also get the passive effect of Ravens, Wolves, and Poison Creeper. So in this case, I'm running Poison Creeper and Wolves, but my Ravens are still active, and that's actually quite important because each Raven gives me additional damage off of Shepherd's Aspect here. So the way the skill rotation on this build works, as I'm going to demonstrate here, I go up to a monster, or maybe let's say multiple monsters. I would open up with Petrify to pull them all in together and to stun them. I use Poison Creeper to immobilize them and to get bonus damage from my Paragon board, from Sinister Tendrils, and from Heightened Malice. Then I would activate Debilitating Roar so that I get 25% extra damage while this is active. Earthen Bulwark, which doesn't by itself give damage, but I have a passive node here, Resonance, where if I use a Storm skill after I use an Earth skill, then I get 18% increased damage rather than just 6%. So the way the skill rotation works when I put it all together would be to Petrify, Poison Creeper, Debilitating Roar, Earthen Bulwark, and then throw my Wolves in. And that's how you get the most damage out of this. I also have Claw. Claw is useful because I can use it to reset my companion skills. Because I have a pretty decent amount of crit chance and lucky hit now, my wolves are already taking the liberty of resetting themselves pretty regularly. But of course, every now and then, maybe I need to hit them too. Or I can use Claw to move around. Either way, that's pretty much how all the skills put together work. Paragon. This character was Paragon level 124 when I cleared Pit 55, with 151 Paragon points spent. I used the starting board with Headhunter Glyph, Untamed board with Wild's Glyph, Heightened Malice, Thunderstruck, and Sinister Tendrils. I used just 2 glyphs, a legendary rank 50 Wild's Glyph, although this was rank 46 when I cleared Pit 55, and rank 15 Headhunter Glyph. In order of importance, I have the Spirit, Keeper, and Fulminate glyphs at rank 15 or beyond. As I got more Paragon points, I would have used these too to boost my damage even further. Mercenaries. For my hired mercenary, I'm using Rahir, since he gives an innate bonus of 15% to all resistances, and sometimes he boosts damage too. For my reinforcement, I run Aldgin for Field of Languish to slow and reduce damage whenever I get CC'd. Progression. From level 1 to 60, the TLDR is that I started on normal and did my Codex of Power first, Helltides and Whispers second, Strongholds third, and Renown last. I tried to play around with Nightmare Dungeons as a leveling method alongside Helltides and Whispers, but NMDs don't feel very efficient for leveling. At least, not so far. For my Codex, I went to pick up Shepherd's Aspect from Blood-Soaked Crag to get more damage. This got me to level 8. Also, it's worth noting that I would gladly pick up the other aspects that are core for the Companion Druid, but Shepherd's Aspect is the only one that you can actually unlock from a dungeon. Then, from level 8 to level 50, I ran Helltides on normal to farm Aberrant Cinders until the hour was almost up, at which point I switched the difficulty to Penitent and began opening Tortured Gifts. From there, I ran a combination of Helltides and Whispers with a few NMDs in between, but I quickly realized that NMDs weren't very good XP, so I stuck with just Helltides and Whispers. I hit all the strongholds to get from 50 to 59, and then at level 59, I turned in all my Renown rewards to reach level 60. From Torment 1 to 4, I kitted out my Companion Druid with all 750 item power gear, and then, using that gear, I pushed all the way up to Pit 25 to unlock Torment 2. It was around this time that I realized Horadric powers can only be obtained in the PTR by talking to the vendor of cheats, so I went and did that in Kyovashad. In Torment 2, I actually started crafting Nightmare Sigils to try and get one that had treasure goblins in it, even just one good Nightmare Sigil with Treasure Goblins on Torment 2 had me covered on all my gold, materials, and equipment for the rest of the run. From there, my priority was to get the unique item Storm's Companion Pants and Irida's Ring. I meant to get the pants from Beast in the Ice, but found it via gambling with Obols instead. If I remember right, I meant to grab the ring from Varshan, but I picked it up from a tortured gift of rings from Helltides instead. I also got lucky and found Rakanoths from running the pit, so that was pretty cool too. With these uniques, I dog-walked the pit all the way to tier 40 and unlocked Torment 3. From there, I used Obdicite from the Nightmare Dungeons to masterwork all my gear to rank 4, leveled up my glyphs by running the pit, and used the XP I got to pick up all legendary Paragon nodes with some resistance to all elements. Along the way, I found some gear upgrades, including Ancestrals, and the sick amulet I used, and from there, I cleared Pit 55 to unlock Torment 4. That pretty much covers it for my favorite build in Diablo 4, the Companion Druid in Season 9. It's straightforward and relatively reliable for reaching Torment 4 as long as you gear up and fix your Paragon board properly. Anyway, I hope this helps. If you found this video useful, a like, comment, or subscribe is always appreciated. But otherwise, that's all for me. Thanks everyone for watching, and venture out.